Who was Sherlock Holmes?
Sherlock Holmes was a famous detective.
What was he famous for?
Sherlock Holmes was famous for catching thieves and murderers.
What did he do when he was thinking?
He often played the violin while thinking about his cases.
What do you do when you are thinking?
I'm sit down and thinking.
Good. Who was Sherlock's best friend?
Sherlock's best friend was Dr. Watson.
What did Holmes tell Watson about walking?
He said, Watson, you're eating too much. You also went walking in the rain. But I'm happy you're taking care of your patients.
What did Holmes say after Watson tells him it's amazing?
He said, elementary, my dear Watson.
Okay. So?
First, your belt is tight, so I know you eat too much. Second, you have mud on your shoes, so I know you were out in the rain. Third, you smell like medicine, so I know you're treating patients.
So how did Holmes know Watson had been walking in the rain?
Watson have mud on his shoes, so Holmes know Watson were out in the rain.
What did Holmes say about being a good detective?
He said, a good detective is observant. He sees everything.
What did they see when they looked out the window?
They saw a man across the street.
What was the man doing?
He was leaning against a tree and looking at the houses.
What did Holmes tell Watson about the man leaning against the tree?
He said he is probably a jeweler. He also has a car. In a few minutes, he'll come over here.
How did Sherlock know the man was a jeweler coming over to his home?
He's standing in the rain with no umbrella. He must have a good reason for getting wet. Also, he's expecting a visitor. He's waiting for a jeweler.
Was the man they had been watching a jeweler?
Yes, the man was a jeweler.
Right. Yes, he was. Did he phone Sherlock that morning?
Yes, he phoned Sherlock this morning.
Okay. What was Mr. Gould's problem?
Somebody robbed his house. Some rings were taken from his workroom.
Okay. What is strange about the robbery?
His workroom door was locked. The windows were burned. His wife was at home that day.
Where did Holmes and Watson go the next day?
Holmes and Watson visited Mr. Gould.
Okay. What did Mr. Gould say about the window?
He kept one window slightly open. He liked fresh air.
What did Holmes see?
He see pipe ash on the windowsill. He also see breadcrumbs.
Did Holmes know what had happened to Mr. Gould's rings?
Yes, he know what happened to his rings.
What did Holmes tell Watson about the case?
He said, Dr. Watson, this may be my shortest case. Will you do something for me?
Okay. What did Holmes ask Watson to get?
He said, please get a ladder, put it against that tree.
Where did Watson put the ladder?
Big tree close to the window.
Right. What flew out of the tree?
A large raven flew out of the branches.
Okay. What did Watson take out of the nest?
He took out 3 rings.
What did Holmes and Watson do later?
Later, Holmes and Watson discussed the case.
Okay. What did Gould do because his wife didn't like smoke?
He keeps the window open to keep her happy.
What did Mr. Gould like to feed?
He likes to feed the birds.
What did Holmes see in the tree?
He saw the raven's nest in the tree.
Okay. What did Holmes know about the ravens?
He knows something about ravens. They're thieves.
What did the raven do with the rings?
It flew in and got the rings. It took them to his nest.
What did Holmes say when Watson said amazing?
He said, no, not amazing. It's elementary, my dear Watson. Oh my, he carefully reached into the nest. He took out 3 rings. He climbed down and handed the rings to the Mr. Gould. Later, Holmes and Watson discussed the case. They sat in Holmes' study and enjoyed some fine brandy. Old friend, I still don't understand. How did you solve the case? It was really quite simple, Watson. Gould smoked in there. He tapped his pipe on the windowsill, but his wife doesn't like smoke, so he keeps the window open to keep her happy. He also puts crumbs on the sill. He likes to feed the birds. But what about the rings? Holmes smiled. Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes was a famous detective. He lived in London 1800, Sherlock Holmes was famous for catching thieves and murderers. He was good at finding clues. He overlooked nothing. Holmes was tall and thin. He lived in a big house on Baker Street. He always wore a tweed suit and smoked a pipe. He loved playing the violin. Holmes enjoyed fine music. He often played the violin while thinking about his cases. Sherlock's best friend was Dr. Watson. Watson often helped him solve crimes. One day, Dr. Watson visited Sherlock Holmes. Watson, you're eating too much. You also went walking in the rain. But I'm happy you're taking care of your patients. That's amazing. How did you know those things? Elementary, my dear Watson. First, your belt is tight, so I know you eat too much. Second, you have mud on your shoes, so I know you were out in the rain. Third, you smell like medicine, so I know you are treating patients. Brilliant, Holmes. Brilliant. I don't know how you do it. A good detective is observant. He sees everything. Here's an example. Watson, how many stairs did you climb to my room? I don't know, Holmes. 32, Watson, 32. I know, I counted them. Let me test you, Holmes. Very well, go ahead, test me. The two men looked out the window. They saw a man across the street. He saw her leaning against a tree and Sherlock and looking at the houses. What can you tell me about that man? He's probably a jeweler. Holmes puffed on his pipe and continued. He also has a cough. In a few minutes, he'll come over here. How do you know that? Easy. He's standing in the rain with no umbrella. He must have a good reason for getting wet. Also, I'm expecting a visitor. I'm waiting for a jeweler. He coughed when he phoned me this morning. That man is the only person out in the rain. He must be the jeweler. Soon there was a knock on the door. A small man entered the room. He coughed. The man was a jeweler. My name is Good. I phoned you this morning. I need your help, Mr. Holmes. Please tell me your problem. Holmes offered a chair to the man. Somebody robbed my house. Some rings were taken from my workroom. My workroom door was locked. The windows were barred. My wife was at home that day. How could anyone get into that room? I'll be happy to help you. We'll visit you at your home tomorrow. The next day, Holmes and Watson visited Mr. Good. They all went upstairs. They walked into the workroom. Holmes looked around the room. The door had a sturdy lock. Steel bars protected the windows. I keep one window slightly open. I like fresh air. Holmes looked at the windowsill. You smoke a pipe, I see. Yes, I do. Sometimes I eat in here too. I know. I see pipe ash on the windowsill. I also see breadcrumbs. The three men looked out the window. I know what happened to your rings. Holmes kept looking out the window. What? How can you know so fast? You haven't left the window. How could you possibly know? Dr. Watson, this may be my shortest case. Will you do something for me? Yes, of course. What do you want? Please get a ladder. Put it against that tree. Holmes pointed to a big tree close to the window. A few minutes later, the men were outside. Holmes looked up into the tree. Watson, please climb the ladder. The doctor climbed up the ladder. A large raven flew out of the branches. Watson looked into the raven's nest. Oh my! He carefully reached into the nest. He took out 3 rings. He climbed down and handed the rings to Mr. Good. Later, Holmes and Watson discussed the case. They sat in Holmes's study and enjoyed some fine brandy. Old friend, I still don't understand. How did you solve the case? It was really quite simple, Watson. Good smoked in there. He tapped his pipe on the windowsill. But his wife doesn't like smoke, so he keeps the window open to keep her happy. He also puts crumbs on the sill. He likes to feed the birds. But what about the rings? Holmes smiled. That was easy too. I saw the raven's nest in the tree. I know something about ravens. They're thieves. The bird sat on the sill to eat the crumbs. Then it saw the rings. Ravens like shiny objects. It flew in and got the rings. It took them to its nest. Amazing. No, not amazing. It's elementary, my dear Watson. Sherlock Holmes just smiled. He puffed on his pipe. Then he took another sip of brandy.